The decade is coming to an end, and today I'm going to share with you guys what I think are the best comedies of this decade. Hey everybody, my name is Justin. I love to watch movies. If you guys love to watch movies too, you guys are in the right spot. Make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Click that bell notification for more up and coming videos. Today I'm going to share with you guys what I think are the best comedies of the decade. Side note, well, like I did for the action films, if any of them are sequels, if there is two of the same movies within a franchise, I'm just going to put it for one so they don't take up most of the list. You'll see that one time within this video. It just gives me a chance to talk about more comedies within this video. What are your favorite comedies? Make sure to leave your list down below. Which ones have you enjoyed over this decade? When I thought of this list, I thought of movies that their sole purpose was to make you laugh. So there's gonna be no animated films within this list because their sole purpose is to be an animated film. I'm not going to include superhero movies because Guardians of the Galaxy is funny, but I think that sole purpose is to be a superhero comic book movie. So these movies are strictly comedies, and these what I think are the best ones, the one I laughed at the most. One I want to talk about that is not on this list, but I absolutely love this movie, and it is so funny. It's so stupid, and that's Bucky Larson. I just had to talk about that real quick. I remember seeing the movie in theaters and absolutely dying in the theaters, laughing so hard. It is beyond stupid, but I laughed so much when watching that movie. I just wanted to talk about it real quick. So these are what I think are the 10 best comedies of the decade. Coming in at number 10 is MacGruber. Everybody that is involved in this movie, from Will Forte to Kristen Wiig, they all commit to the roles. This is based off of an SNL sketch, and it takes the best parts of MacGyver and just runs with it and has a lot of fun with it. I laughed so hard when watching MacGruber. It is beyond stupid. Will Forte is absolutely perfect to play this part while trying to be serious and be an action star, but also bringing those silly, dumb moments to the screen. I laugh so much. I watch this movie like once a year. It is one of the funniest films I've seen this decade. Coming at number 9 is Hot Tub Time Machine. Hot Tub Time Machine is a film that I initially did not like, but after the first time I watched it, I started to fall in love with it. This is a film that I can turn on and just have playing in the background and, you know, see a certain sequence and remember exactly what's going on. This is a film that's so bizarre. It has a weird concept of a hot tub that is a time machine, but it oddly works, and it has some emotions thrown throughout and has a good message about friendship and living your life. And it all takes just a bunch of weird actors, like John Cusack is in this movie with Craig Robinson. You don't want to think that John Cusack would be in a comedy like this, but he is, and it's really funny. It's a bizarre concept that just completely ran with it and made it work. It's so funny. I absolutely love Hot Tub Time Machine. Hot Tub Time Machine 2, not so much, but I really do enjoy this film. Coming at number 8 is Pop Star Never Stop, Never Stopping. Just that title alone is really funny. I saw this in theaters and I laughed so hard. I love Andy Samberg. He is a really hilarious actor. Lonely Island, I've been listening to their music since I was in high school, and their music is just a blast. So I wanted to see this movie so bad. It is stupid. It is so funny. The jokes that Andy Samberg provides in here really hit it hard. The timing for them is great as well. There's a lot of great cameos within this movie, and the songs in here are hilarious as well. The one with Adam Levine and the hologram is just so silly, but it's so funny. And it's one of the films that I've seen in theaters that I remember just laughing from beginning to end. Coming in at number 7 is Ted. Ted is a bizarre concept, just like Hot Tub Time Machine, about Mark Wahlberg, and he has a talking real-life teddy bear. And this is directed by Seth MacFarlane, and it takes all of Seth MacFarlane's creative ideas and his style from Family Guy and puts it within this movie. He has those jump cuts that tell a side story that work really well. He has odd relationships like Brian and Peter that are odd, but feels so warm and funny. And it has a relationship between Mark Wahlberg as well as a talking teddy bear that you love watching. You can tell that they're friends. It works so well. It just oddly feels natural for a grown man and a teddy bear to be great friends. But that's what Seth MacFarlane does well, is he adds a lot of style to his comedy, and he has these jump cuts that work well, and he has that relationship that works even better. A lot of comedies from this decade spawned sequels that weren't as good as the previous movie. Hot Tub Time Machine 2 wasn't as good as Hot Tub Time Machine, and Ted 2 isn't as good as Ted, and even Anchorman 2 wasn't as good as the first Anchorman. So it was a decade of comedies and comedy sequels that just weren't good as its predecessor, but Ted was hilarious. It was really bizarre, very vulgar, and you would not totally expect a teddy bear to get with a girl and work at a grocery store. It's odd, but it was a good time. Coming in at number 6 is This Is 40. This took the characters from Knocked Up and gave them their own movie, Paul Rudd and Leslie Mann. And this is directed by Judd Apatow and actually stars his children in this movie. They are the same kids that were from Knocked Up, and I absolutely love Judd Apatow films. He's only directed a couple films from this decade, This Is 40 and Trainwreck, and Trainwreck's not on this list. But This Is 40 took the characters that I found to be really hilarious in Knocked Up and gave them their own movie, and I thought that was really brilliant. You got to see characters that you love, and they really didn't mention Seth Rogen and Katherine Heigl in that movie, but it had a family dynamic that was really natural and genuine, and really hectic at times, but it just took an inside look at a really common family. And Paul Rudd and Leslie Mann provided a lot of laughs. They work really great together. Their chemistry is spot on. They feel like a married couple, and that was set up within that Knocked Up movie. I love Judd Apatow. I can't wait to see his next film coming out next year with Pete Davidson. Trainwreck is easily my least favorite of his, but This Is 40 was filmed from this decade that I loved. It was more of a mature comedy compared to like Hot Tub Time Machine and Ted. Albert Brooks was so funny in this movie, and the whole supporting cast had at least a few moments that worked really well and made me laugh. Coming at number 5 is Booksmart. This is the most recent comedy on this list, and Olivia Wilde brought such a good comedy to the big screen. Maybe I love it so much because it feels oddly similar to Superbad, and Superbad is one of my favorite comedies of all time. But it's a film from beginning to end that provided a lot of laughs, a lot of insight to high school relationships and friendships. It was emotional at times towards the end of the movie. The writing was so smart. The characters are quirky, but you love them. You want to see them, but you want to see them together. Their friendship was one of the more iconic moments of 2019. They felt so comfortable being with each other that when they had some arguments, it didn't feel forced at all. It felt like something that you would expect from a really strong relationship. Although this movie is very typical and cliche at times, it still feels very fresh. And it's a movie from 2019 that I've wanted to watch over and over again. It's one of the films that has been on my mind constantly. Coming at number 4 is The World's End. This film stars Simon Pegg and Nick Frost about some friends that get together and they go to a pub and then there's an alien attack. It's a bizarre idea, but it could only come from Edgar Wright and his friends. The World's End is nothing like his previous 2 movies within this trilogy. At times, it's a little bit too cartoony with its violence, but it is very quotable. You can tell that this whole group had a genuine friendship at one point, and people are really dying to see each other, and they want to have that same memory that they did long ago, even though that some people may have changed since that time. It's not my favorite from this trilogy, from Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End, but it is still a good time. Coming in at number 3 is Bridesmaids. The actresses from Maya Rudolph to Kristen Wiig to Melissa McCarthy, everybody in this movie commits to their role and has such a genuine, just fun, heartwarming comedy. Every scene in this movie works. The moments with Kristen Wiig alone and with her roommates is comedic gold. The moments of pure jealousy from Kristen Wiig with Maya Rudolph is funny. We have Rose Byrne in the movie and Kristen Wiig is completely jealous of her. So it allows for some conversations to happen about jealousy and friendships and clinging on to certain things, while also managing to be really funny about it as well. It takes awkward moments and makes them even more awkward and silly and funny. And it's one of the more memorable comedies of the decade. Coming at number 2 is This Is the End. I never thought I'd get a film about all my favorite comedic actors within one film. This movie stars Danny McBride, Seth Rogen, Jonah Hill, Craig Robinson, James Franco, and like every other person in Hollywood is in this movie and has a cameo as their real self. This is a clever idea. They get to play themselves and the world is ending. So it gets completely dark at times. Really, really dark, and still manages to have all of the things that I love about each one of these actors on the big screen all together. It just spirals out of control into a really odd, bizarre ending. A lot of it just seems like it could be improvised. It's a film that I never thought would happen, but I got it and I absolutely love it. But coming in at number 1 is actually 2 films, because I said I'm going to put 2 together if it's the same movie, and that's 21 and 22 Jump Street. They are essentially kind of like the same movies, and 22 Jump Street even makes fun of that it's kind of like the same thing but done again in college. These 2 movies are the movies that made me laugh the most this decade. Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill's relationship is perfect, and it feels like a genuine friendship. How this movie just makes fun of itself is so self-aware. It's a movie that I could put on at any point of the day, any time, any month, and just absolutely laugh at it. I'm not sure honestly which film I like more. I always teeter back and forth between 21 and 22 Jump Street. But when I think of any comedy from this decade, I want to pick number 1 film as the one I laughed the most at, the one I cared the most about, the one where I loved the characters, the one where I just was so involved with the movie I wanted to see it over and over again, the one I keep thinking about, and the one I think is the best one, and that is 21 and 22 Jump Street. It is so funny. I love the jokes in here. They're very quotable jokes with "My name is Jeff" from the beginning of the 22 Jump Street movie. Ice Cube is funny in his role. I heard they renewed that Men in Black 23rd Jump Street. That would have been a really odd film, but I think it probably would have been really funny. But when I think of the best comedy from the year, I always think of 21 and 22 Jump Street. It is a treasure to me. I absolutely love it. It is so funny. And now I think I want to go watch them right now. So there you guys have it. These are what I think are the best comedies of the decade. Make sure to leave your list down below. And I got one more best list of the decade, and that's the best films coming very soon. My name is Just Watch Movies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.